Hey, comic enthusiasts and pop culture lovers, I'm Ashley.
Sup, nerds? I'm Ryan, and together we are
Couple of Nerds.
Sup, nerds? Hold on to your butts. We're going to be talking about Jurassic Park.
That's right.
I love Jurassic Park. It came out in the 90s. It came out in 1993, which is the year you were born.
That's right.
Which is cool. I remember watching that movie on VHS with my family.
Bet you're real scared, huh?
Actually, not really. Because I knew they were fake and everything, but it was fun. But I know a lot of really cool, fun facts about it.
Oh, yeah.
I do. So we'll get to those in a second. But Jurassic Park is actually a novel written by Michael Crichton. And he was writing that book, and kind of fun fact about that, the book wasn't even published yet when the movie was actually, the movie rights was being purchased.
Yeah.
It existed, but just wasn't published.
Because Spielberg and everyone else loved Michael Crichton's work so much that they wanted it to get in there before anyone else could.
Exactly. They got the rights before the book was ever published. So Universal and Spielberg bought the rights immediately.
Yeah. They heard that there were dinosaurs in a theme park, and they're like, yes, let's do this.
Yeah. Because Michael Crichton is notorious about writing about theme parks going wrong. Because he also wrote the story and screenplay for Westworld.
Yeah.
That's his stuff. So he kind of has a thing about theme parks going wrong.
Well, he's too tall for roller coasters.
Yes, mostly. And so am I. And I also don't like doing roller coasters. But that's getting off topic. So, so I actually know a couple of fun facts about Jurassic Park. Do you know any?
I know a ton. I know that in the scene with the T-Rex, the animatronic kept getting wet because it was raining, and it would kind of malfunction.
Yeah. Well, the whole thing with that is the reason why originally the scene wasn't going to be wet and rainy, but some unforeseen weather phenomena decided to happen on the place where they were actually doing most of the filming.
The hurricane?
There was actually a hurricane blowing through, and most of the movie was actually filmed on some sound sets. But some of the other places, like the big wide open shots, was actually filmed in Hawaii. And it was really, really cool. I've actually been to Hawaii once when I was really, really little. The little waterfall where the helicopter comes down, that little pool and everything.
Yeah, it's a pretty big waterfall.
Yeah, it's pretty big. I've actually been there.
Yeah.
And it's really cool. It's really neat. It's beautiful there. But yeah, they decided to kind of put in a hurricane force winds and stuff in there into the story just because there was a hurricane that went through. And they had to take shelter in a hotel for a while for most of the production team.
Yeah, they got the footage of the hurricane, of the waves hitting the coast, and we're gonna put this in. It adds to the tension.
Yeah, they actually put it in, which is really cool.
Yeah.
And in the book, there's supposed to be a tropical storm, I believe, that comes in.
Oh, that's still pretty much the same thing.
It's kind of the same thing. But it's cool, but it's interesting you mentioned the T-Rex kind of freaking out because it's soaking up so much water. So when it did that, it started shaking really hard and started to kind of move on its own.
Ooh.
It would actually move its head up and down and blink its eyes, move its jaw up and down and freak out.
That's creepy.
Sometimes they would actually have to stop production just to turn the rain off and try to dry it off by slapping towels at it. And another thing with that whole scene with the T-Rex coming in, you know the scene when the T-Rex comes coming down at
the kids?
Yeah, at the kids and everything, where it breaks the plexiglass ceiling?
Yeah, that was great.
That wasn't supposed to happen. Those screams were absolutely real screams of terror.
Wow.
So that was not supposed to happen.
Well, props to Spielberg for filming unforeseen but great scenes.
Yes, he did a lot of that. A lot of the greatness for this film is with the acting and the special effects. Most of the special effects they're animatronics.
Yeah.
Or puppetry, but for the wider shots, it's actually early CG.
Yes.
And the reason why the CG still holds up is because it was very sparse and very far away.
Yeah.
So it still kind of maintained a believability about it.
Yeah.
And that's why it worked so well.
Like when the raptor comes up out of the vent, he's like, that's a real raptor, it's interacting with the person, then it falls down
and
on the floor.
And then CG raptor in the ground.
Yeah.
And it's cool because with the sounds that they actually got for the sound stuff, it's actually a bunch of actual animals that exist now. Because when they were trying to get render the motion for each of the animals and stuff, they're actually looking at real animals to be doing stuff like that. So for the T-Rex, the higher frequencies are a baby elephant kind of screeching, and they just kind of messed with the tuning. And then they added for the growl, it was a alligator growling, and I think it's something else. I think it's, I guess, an alligator and a lion. It was an alligator, a lion, and a screen door. And for the velociraptors, it was actually a dolphin and a walrus.
A walrus.
A walrus for the lower growly things. That's actually a walrus growl. It's really cool.
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of really neat. There's so many Easter eggs inside of it too. So, for example, at the beginning, when Grant and Ellie are actually in the helicopter and they're going down and they're trying to buckle their seatbelts, and Grant ends up having the same ends of the seatbelt.
Right.
And actual engineering, those kind of ends of seatbelts and stuff, it's a male side and a female side.
Right.
Grant ended up with 2 female sides, but he made it work. It is a kind of a huge to say that life finds a way,
right.
Which is like a hug. It happens right at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, it's foreshadowing, right?
It is. It's foreshadowing.
Because in the movie, the scientists want to make all of the dinosaurs female,
so they can control the population. And so if they need to get more eggs to use stuff to make more animals, they can just take it from them and then use it from there.
They said there's no unauthorized breeding on the park.
But that didn't work, and I did it.
Yeah, because some animals can change their gender if they need to, and they didn't think that the dinosaurs would be able to do that.
Yeah, because they didn't know, because human beings did not exist at the same time as dinosaurs.
Yeah, dinosaurs existed billions of years before humans did.
And another thing, fun fact with dinosaurs and everything, do you know how big a velociraptor actually is?
Like the size of a turkey, right?
It is the size of a turkey. It is legitimately the size of a turkey. They're like about this big. They're actually about that big. So at the beginning, when Grant is in the dig site and he's talking about how the velociraptor is kind of all shaped more like a bird, he's wondering why they couldn't fly. And the little kid's like, oh, it sounds more like a 6-foot turkey. I'm like, well, you're not far off.
Yeah.
Which, because when it came out, they didn't know that most of the dinosaurs actually did have feathers.
Yeah.
And some velociraptors actually did have feathers, and it was really weird. And we actually recently found out what a T-Rex actually sounded like. Do you want to know what it sounded like?
Yes.
Really? It sounded like a chicken.
Okay.
Straight up sounded like a chicken.
You know,
a giant chicken, but a chicken.
Yeah.
It was really, really interesting. It's like some of the cool fun facts and little Easter eggs that are in there. So when Dennis Nedry, the more heavy-set guy who is in charge of a lot of the engineering, he was Newman and other shows.
Yes.
But when he's on his computer, on one of his computer screens, he's actually watching the movie Jaws at the same time, which is another film directed by Spielberg.
Yeah.
That was a fun little Easter egg that was put in there. And when the velociraptors are chasing everybody in the big compound, there's a whole bunch of light that shows on top of its face, and that light is actually showing the alphabetical, genetic code, which is Gattaca.
Yeah.
And it's all across his face, and you never see that anywhere else in the film, so you don't know where the heck that's coming from.
Yeah. It reminds me of Space Odyssey.
It does remind me of that too. So, do you know how they effectively got everyone to scream at the same time when things would happen, or to get them all to react at the same time?
Did they blow an air horn at them?
No, Steven Spielberg actually was usually behind the camera with the megaphone making dinosaur noises.
Like, rawr.
Yeah, so when everyone is looking down in the velociraptor pen and the velociraptor is just tearing into the cow and you don't really see it, and they're all looking cringing or trying not to, like that, it's because Spielberg is on a megaphone going, making dinosaur noises. And half the time, most of the acting is them trying not to laugh because it was really funny.
Every time I see that scene, I want the little boy to be there and just be like, because that's what I would have done as a little kid. I'd be like, wow, that's so cool.
Because dinosaurs are cool.
Yeah.
They're very, very cool. And it's the same. He did the same thing too when the T-Rex was supposed to be chasing Malcolm and Ellie and the game warden guy in the Jeep. Spielberg was in the other car with the film truck, behind the film thing with a megaphone and making Tyrannosaurus Rex noises at the same time so they would all scream. Just imagine how funny it was to see that, and they're all supposed to be terrified, but it's a dude making dinosaur noises.
I love how you see the dinosaur footprint and there's the puddle in it, and you can see Jeff Goldblum, Ian Malcolm, his reflection in it, and you see it shake, you see the ripples, and you see his reaction, and that's just a great way to show, because you're seeing what he's looking at and you're seeing his reaction at the same time.
Exactly. I actually know some of the ability, some of the stuff they did to actually create those vibrations and stuff. So with all of the vibrations and things, where it all started, Steven Spielberg was in his car, just blaring Earth, Wind, and Fire.
As you do.
And it started to shake his rearview mirror during the bass notes.
Yeah.
And he thought it was really cool, and he figured he needed to do that. He needed to figure out a way to do that for the film.
Yeah.
So what they did is they actually put a little motor on the inside of the rearview mirror in that car and would activate it for when it needed to vibrate for the stomp. And fun fact, that's the stomp noise is actually a redwood tree falling with the Tyrannosaurus Rex with a footstep thing.
Yeah.
So they did that, and to get that ripple effect inside of that, inside of the cups.
Oh yeah, the cups of water.
That really iconic scene with the ripples going. Boop, boop. So what they did is they actually attached a guitar string under each of them, and then they plucked it at the same time. So the string is actually inside of the actual casing on the front part of the vehicle.
Yeah.
So that vehicle is not actually drivable, but where they filmed that scene, because someone is underneath plucking a guitar string to get that perfect ripple effect. And it's so cool. I love just hand done special effects.
Me too.
It's so cool. It's just so good. It still stands up today and it's perfect.
Yeah.
It's awesome. It's really, really cool.
Yeah, I love practical effects.
Me too.
I can use them for cosplay sometimes.
Yes. Bringing up the animatronics again for everything. So there are some little bit of whoopsies that kind of made it into the final film.
Yeah.
But they're still awesome. It's fine. It's actually the part of the film where the velociraptors have chased the children into the kitchen.
Right.
So as soon as the door opens and you see the velociraptor peeking through, if you notice just for a couple of seconds, on the very far side of the actual velociraptor, you see a hand steadying the animatronic. It stayed there. They didn't edit it out because they didn't have other ways to actually edit it out.
Yeah.
At that time, they just left it there. But it's funny because it's once you realize it, then you're like, oh, I see the hand. I see you. But I've seen a lot of people actually do a bit of a meme about Phil Tippett, who was actually the dinosaur expert and dinosaur handler.
Yeah, he's credited as the dinosaur handler at the end of the movie.
Yes. So Phil Tippett was actually is a stop motion guru.
Okay.
He was a great stop motion artist. Because originally the dinosaurs were going to be stop motion animated. And instead they decided to bring in CGI artists because the stop motion was really great, but it wasn't moving the exact way that they wanted to. So they brought somebody else in to kind of scan over his work and try to make it a little bit smoother and a little bit better. And he was involved in the process, and he actually got to observe what they were doing. And when he saw the first actual rendered scene of something in 3D, and it's a bunch of the Gallimimus being chased by the T-Rex, was the first thing that they did for that. And when he saw that, he looked at it and he immediately looked to Spielberg. He's like, I think I'm going to be extinct. So they ended up using that as a line in the film with Ian Malcolm saying that to Grant.
Right, when they're going up the stairs.
Yeah, when they're going up the stairs, he's like, hey, so what do you feel about all this? Grant says, oh, I feel like I'm out of a job. And Ian's like, oh, don't you mean extinct? So they actually put that in there because of what Phil Tippett said.
Yeah.
So don't blame Phil Tippett. It's because of Phil Tippett we have everything. So don't be mean to Phil. He did a good job. It's not his fault. But yeah, if you absolutely love anything that we just talked about and actually really want to see this stuff again, I invite you to go ahead and watch Jurassic Park again.
Yeah.
Watch all of the films, they're fantastic. They can be a little cheesy with a few of them. The third one's a little nuts.
Yeah, I'd skip the third one.
No, don't skip it. It's fun. It's silly, but it's fun. And the new ones are great too. I absolutely love Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because the more you actually watch them again, the more you see actually what we've learned in the real life being transported into films.
Yeah, like in the most recent one, Jurassic World Dominion, they've got feathers on some of the dinosaurs.
That's right. And another little kind of a fun fact that I know. Did you know that there's actually a dinosaur in Jurassic Park that's actually not supposed to be in the Jurassic era?
Which one?
The T-Rex. It's not from the Jurassic era.
Cretaceous?
It's from the late Cretaceous period.
Yeah, that's right.
It's a little off, but they wanted to bring the T-Rex because the T-Rex is cool.
Yeah, it's the most iconic dinosaur.
Yeah, he's really awesome. So she's really awesome.
Yeah, they're all female.
So absolutely, go watch it and join us for our Summer of Spielberg.
Yeah!
Tune in every Friday for more nerdy stuff and trivia from us, your couple of nerds, only on Halloween C.